The purpose of this video is to show you how to use the progress monitoring or the progress reports in TieNet in an IEP. So you can see right now that we're in a practice student 17. I'm going to go into the latest finalized IEP. And then I'm going to go ahead and go to the flyout. It's going to show me all the pages. So this is the entire IEP, but when it comes to doing progress reports or progress monitoring, we go ahead and we go down here to this section where it says progress reports. And this is editable or allows you to edit after it's been finalized. So you can see that I have, if you go over here to the top where it says progress report select, I have 3 different options. So I have a reading goal, a math goal, and a motor skills goal. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the motor skills. And one thing that you will notice is that it has the present levels of performance, and because this was just a practice student, I don't really have anything in there. It has the date the goal was initiated, who's responsible, and the goal. And it's when not given assistance, practice will be able to maintain appropriate core strength position to be able to sit in a chair and participate appropriately at least 8 out of 10 encounters by the end of the IEP as measured by anecdotal records. And one of the things that you should see when you start a new IEP is that there isn't any progress towards goals. What we do end up seeing, which we shouldn't, is that we might be seeing progress reports that are old. So I've gone in and I've seen really old progress reports. Every time you have an annual IEP, you want to delete the old progress, and you want to go ahead and keep have every single one of these progress go towards this goal. We don't want to have the old stuff in there. And so we had a period where we ran out of spaces, even though we had 8 spaces, which is usually more than enough, because people were keeping old things in. So that's the first thing you need to know, is that we shouldn't have progress that predates this annual IEP. So when you're doing a revision, if you have a revision, you want to go ahead and put the progress notes in the latest finalized IEP, even if it's a revision. So sometimes we see if an IEP has 1 or 2 revisions, which happens, that we might see just a few in there as well. So what you go ahead and do is you click on this date to put the date of the progress reports. And I'm just going to pick any old day here. But you might be different. So we have progress reports are due at minimum 4 times a year. And if the student's in ESY, we also do it in ESY as well. And so that 4 times a year, generally at the end of the quarter. You want to go ahead and click here for the progress report. So we could either say it's mastered, sufficient, insufficient, or no progress. And then we have to give a description. So we're going to go ahead and say practice is able to maintain core strength to participate appropriately in 6 out of 10 encounters. And that's going to be the latest one. And then the next one, so let's say this is ESY. The next one is going to be our quarter 1. And so you would have that date in October. And then the next one would be the date in December. And then the next one would be the date in March. And then the next one would be the date in May. And so then when you would come around to doing the IEP again, you would have 4 or possibly 5. Now, as you probably know, that an IEP team can decide to actually do more progress reports, and that's fine. It doesn't have to be just those 4 or 5 times a year, but that's the bare minimum. And if you want to add some additional comments, you can go ahead and add those comments there. So this is right now the most common way that our users are going ahead and writing their goals. They're using this text. But there is another way that is actually a lot easier to do in some ways, and it is much better when it comes to being able to track progress across time. So let me show you that. So I'm going to go back up, and now I'm going to go to my reading. Oops, sorry. You always want to do save done editing when you're done. If you don't do save done editing, you'll go back and you'll be like, what happened to my progress reports? And it was because you didn't do save done editing. So we don't want that. So we're going up here. We're going to go back to reading. Now this looks different. And so what I like about this is that it's right here, it says when reading, practice will be able to read 100 words per minute at 3 hours or less by the end of the IEP as measured by performance assessments. And it would have the present levels of academic achievement, but I didn't write that in because this is just a practice student. So we already know that 70 is the baseline. So let's say, and I need to go back in time. So obviously you would be recording this as it was happening. So if you were working on SRA, for example, this would work really well. So I would say, put in the date, and it has to be before the 6/1/2021 date. And you put in the baseline. And so 70 is the baseline, and so what happened next? Well, let's say that they read 72. And right now you can see how it popped down over here. We go 70, 72, and we have our goal line projection. So we're gonna go ahead and do it again. And I'm just putting in random dates right now, although you know we could be doing more. Oh, and see, I didn't get the right date. It told me my specified score date is not in this session. That's okay, I went ahead and put in a different date. Let's say they did 85 for the next one. Again, I'm just putting in. But you can see how this is a great way for us to chart our progress with our students. And it's popped in over here, and now it changed to green. So it had the score date was not in session, and that's because I looked it up and that is actually a weekend, so it doesn't allow you to do it on the weekends. So right now I have it on a different date, and I'm just putting in some dates to show you. And this kiddo seems to be doing really well. And see, we're getting a great line of how this is working. Oops, I don't know what I'm doing there. But let's say he tanks one. Let's see what happens. And you can see that it goes all the way down here. And so in cases like this, obviously you would, maybe redo the test. But what this does is it allows us to get as many as we need in here. And then especially when we're doing something like SRA and we're testing quite often, we're able to record all of this information and it's in one place. And then when you go to do your progress reports, it's already done. So there's a lot of gold in doing it this way. And then we'll give him a final. Final score of 120. And of course, add a timeline. And then do save. There we go, and then do save. You won't have the same problem with the dates that I did. I was going in blind and just putting in dates. But what you can see is this is really lovely. It gives us a great chart. It shows us, what we're expecting to see, and then it shows us what we did see. And then if we were ever supposed to be going straight up and we're always consistently below, then we know to come back. We can have another meeting, or we could have a revision. We can change the goal. We can change the strategies. We can change something. So we're able to react faster than looking at it just one time per year. So it has a lot of benefits for doing it this way. And then you can go ahead when you're ready to, you can go ahead and print. and you can pick the ones that you want. And you can either print them as paper or you can save them as a PDF, depending on how you are set up in your plans. So see that nice graph? It's a thing of beauty. Okay. Hopefully this is helpful, and of course if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out, and then of course have an absolutely lovely day.